it's Damien. And a new update for this channel. I finally know how to make chapter points on YouTube. So that's what I'm gonna do. So if y'all wanna stop after one chapter, I'm gonna have chapter points for the chapters. And so this video might take longer to edit if this video doesn't have so many chapters of the book in it. But I'm doing it for everyone that's gonna be watching this video. Because I'm a nice person and I care. Anyways, leave in the comments what your favorite Goosebumps not Goosebumps episode, Goosebumps HorrorLand episode. Not, if I said Goosebumps, like I would say, if I said Goosebumps all the books, pick your favorite book. If I say just Goosebumps episode, then I mean the series that's literally just stated Goosebumps, only called Goosebumps. Other than that, so, put your favorite HorrorLand episode. And I guess one day in HorrorLand counts too. I mean, yeah, it does. This is still HorrorLand. So, pick your favorite HorrorLand episode. My personally, I don't know. I like Dr. Maniac vs. Robbie Schwartz. That was a good one. But me personally, I love Weirdo Halloween because Bam is my second favorite monster. So yeah. So the HorrorLand Goosebumps series is a good series. It has a lot of lore into it. Okay, yeah. I might just cut out the whole walk down. This is weird. What's it 32 or 33? It was like a cartoon character. Are you sure you're okay? I asked. He nodded. My feeling is okay. He hugged himself. He must have been freezing in that costume. How old are you? Chris asked. Many, the kid replied. He held up one hand. He had only 3 fingers. How did you do that? I asked. Is it a special glove? Are you dressed as an alien baby? Chris asked him. He tossed back his head and opened his mouth in a tiny laugh. He sounded like SpongeBob. A cold gust of wind made me shudder. I wrapped my black cape around me. You're putting us on, right? I said. You're doing that funny voice? My feeling is funny. My feeling is funny, he replied. His smile was all crooked on his orange face. He laughed again, raising his eyes to the black sky. Do you go to our school? Chris asked. The kid stood back at him but didn't reply. We're going to be late, I told Chris. I promised Kelly I'd get there early. Yeah, well, awesome costume, Chris told the kid. Bye, I said. Stay out of the hedges. Chris and I turned and walked away. The wind was swirling around us. A cloud rolled over the tiny sliver of moon, and the street grew darker. Chris and I started the trot. Kelly's house was the last one on the block, across from Becker Woods. My cape fluttered behind me as we hurried. I knew my hair was a mess. Kelly had all the lights on. A huge, fiery jack-o'-lantern grinned at us on the front stoop. Chris and I leaped onto the stoop. I rang the doorbell. I heard a sound behind us. I turned. Oh, I don't believe it, I whispered. Chris turned to see what I saw. The orange kid in the diaper had followed us. He stood staring at us from the sidewalk. Kelly's front door swung open. I heard a growl. I jumped to the side as Kelly's big dog came rolling out, barking ferociously. No! A scream burst from my throat as the dog lowered his head and leaped off the stoop. In a frenzy of growls and snapping teeth, he tore straight at the little kid. Chapter 8. I screamed again. To my shock, the dog stopped short. He pulled back a few inches from the kid. It was like he'd hit an invisible wall. The dog lowered his head. He tucked his tail between his hind legs to begin to whimper. His whole body trembled. The kid hadn't moved. He had his hands at his waist. His tiny raisin eyes were trained on the trembling dog. Kelly burst onto the stoop. "What did you do to Bubba?" she cried. She pointed. "Look at him. He's shaking like a leaf." He jumped at that kid," I stammered. Kelly blinked. "Kid? What kid?" I turned back. The little orange guy had vanished. Kelly leaped off the stoop and threw her arms around Bubba's neck. "Are you okay, baby? You hate Halloween, don't you?" There was a little kid standing there in a weird costume, Chris said. "I guess the kid scared him." "Dogs hate Halloween," Kelly said. "It's just too weird for them. You don't get it at all." She gave Bubba a final pat on the head. The dog was still trembling. He slowly climbed up the stoop and walked back into the house. I heard kids laughing inside and loud music. "I was going to make Bubba a costume," she said. "You know, for the party. But I knew he'd just tear it apart and eat it." "He's always so gentle," I said. "It's weird that he wanted to attack that kid." I realized Kelly was staring hard at me. I suddenly knew why. I burst out laughing. "Kelly, I don't believe it. Your costume is almost identical to mine." She threw an arm around my shoulders and we both laughed. Our capes got tangled together. "Meg, we've been best friends so long," she said. "We even think of the same Halloween costume." "Your makeup is better," I said. "Your eyes really look like they're sucking deep in your head. And your blue lips are awesome." "Your black lipstick is better," Kelly said. "Much creepier." "I think my costume is the best," Chris chimed in. We ignored him. We bumped him out of the way and walked into the party. Kelly's living room was hot and already crowded. I stepped under orange and black streamers strung over the ceiling. I saw a grinning skull on the coffee table, surrounded by huge black plastic spiders. Black candles flickered everywhere. Eerie music boomed from the stage. Everyone was in costume. I saw ghosts in the bedsheet. I saw two mummies at the food table, trying to pick up tortilla chips with their bandaged hands. "Yeah? No?" A powder with a black eye patch and a piranha soda waved to Chris, probably one of my brother's buddies. "Did you see Melody?" Kelly asked. "She's a riot. She dresses as a mushroom, really." I glanced around. No sign of a mushroom. I turned toward the den and a tall two-headed alien stepped in front of me. "Hi, Carlos," I said. Silence for a moment. Then his voice seemed to come from far away. "Meg, how do you know it was me? How do you know it was me?" I rolled my eyes. "You're the only science fiction geek I know," I said. "Who else would come here in his two-headed alien costume?" Both of his heads stared at me. One head was bright blue and had a nose that stuck straight out like a bunny cucumber. The other head was red and had 4 eyes, 2 noses, and 2 mouths with dripping veins. "Can you tell which is my real head?" Carlos asked. "They both are," I joked. He didn't laugh. "No, take a guess. Which mask is my head in?" His voice was so muffled, I could barely hear him over the loud voices and creepy music. I gazed at the blue head, then the red one. "Neither one," Carlos answered before I could guess. "My real head is buried inside the chest of this costume."
What's going on?
I laughed. Totally clever. There's only one problem, Carlos said. I can't see a thing. Where am I? Who am I talking to? Carlos is the funniest dude I know. He's a good friend.
Well, the reason why I'm calling you...
And he knows everything about aliens and mutants in every sci-fi movie ever made. He spends all his time online reading strange blogs. He's totally into it. He stepped past me to show off his costume to some kids who had just arrived. I turned and saw Bubba. The poor thing was huddled in the corner, head down, still shaking. What was that about? Because he's in the room with a bunch of people dressed in weird costumes and he can't recognize him.
Wow.
Alright, so we're at chapter 9. Hope you enjoyed chapter 8. Anyways, yeah, chapter 9. Kelly's Halloween party was awesome. Her mom kept bringing in more and more pieces. We played a scary hide-and-seek game across the street in Becker Woods.
How much do you weigh? You know?
We played a scary hide-and-seek in Becker Woods.
Okay, alright, well.
Then we came back
the length is okay.
to the house to warm up. After we drank hot apple cider, Kelly turned off all the lights.
Right.
We sat around the living room, gazing into the flickering flames of the black candles. Carlos pulled off his two heads and set them down on the floor. He leaned into the dancing candlelight and told a scary ghost story. This is the story of the headless ghost, he said in a whisper.
Yeah,
The husband could hear his whisper story over the gustling wind outside the living room window. You may not believe in ghosts, Carlos said, but Kelly does because the headless ghost lives in her basement. Kelly laughed, breaking the silence. Kelly always loves to cover up the truth, Carlos whispered. She doesn't want anyone to know of the hideous ghost that haunts her house. She doesn't want anyone to know why she removed the ghost's head. She would never tell where she hid that ugly head. Carlos, it's on your neck, someone shouted. Everyone laughed. It's easy to make jokes, Carlos whispered, when you're afraid. And we all have a reason to be afraid, because if you listen carefully, no one made a sound. Just listen, and you will hear the headless ghost coming up the basement stairs. You will hear the creak of his footsteps. Listen. The room grew silent again. No one moved.
How's Benny doing?
We were all listening.
Where they went to Roby, right?
I felt a chill at the back of my neck.
Does it?
I screamed when a deafening crash shattered the silence. Sharp pieces of glass shot over the room. Other kids screamed. Some dove to the floor. A rush of freezing wind blew over us, blew out all the candles. Darkness now, and a clatter of glass, and the steady rush of wind. I stumbled up from the couch arm where I'd been sitting. I staggered a few steps in the darkness. She was shouting, crying out, startled questions. What happened? What crashed? Did something blow out? Blow up? Did something blow up? Was that broken glass? For a brief sound, I thought of Carlos's headless ghost. He told us to listen for it, and then...
Okay.
A crazy thought. Someone clicked the ceiling lights back on. I gazed around. Everyone looked so stunned, so confused. Kids climbed to their feet, shaking their heads.
Yeah.
It's the window, Kelly yelled. I turned. Yes, the living room window had been shattered. I saw a big jagged hole in the center with cracks zigzagging over the rest of the pane.
Right.
Kelly started for the window, then stopped. She knelt down beside a brown package on the carpet in front of the broken window.
Right.
Hey, did someone toss us through the window? She said.
Awesome.
Touching over broken glass, kids gathered around the package. Oh, sure. What is it? I cried. Kelly, be careful. Don't open it. I hurried up beside her. My warning was too late. She was already tearing it open. Who would do this? She cried. Her hands were trembling as she ripped at the package. Who would leave something through my... Who would heave something through my living room window? She tore off the lid and rose. The blast of fire against my face. I raised my hands to shield myself. I stumbled back a few steps into Carlos. He caught me and stood me up straight. And then the horrible odor invaded my nose. Oh! I let out a sickening moan. I saw other kids' eyes go wide, their mouths twisted in disgust. And Kelly shrieked at the top of her lungs. Oh, help! Help! What's that disgusting smell? Smell?
Really? Did I know?
Chapter 10. I tried to hold my breath, but it was too late. The sour smell was already in my nose and mouth.
Maybe that's the reason.
I squeezed 2 fingers over my nose. My stomach lurched. I struggled to keep the pizza down. The room rang with the sick moans and cries of all the kids. Still holding my breath, I spun around and searched for my brother, but my eyes began pouring out tears. I could barely see. Finally, I found Chris, bending over the couch, struggling not to puke. My stomach heaved again. I couldn't help it. I had to take a breath, and I got another mouthful of the bitter, disgusting odor. I started to gag. I stumbled toward Chris at the couch and bumped hard into Melody. She struggled to pull off her mushroom costume. She was choking and gagging, stumbling toward the front door. I heard the door crash against the wall as it was pulled open. Kids were running out of the house, moaning and retching. The living room carpet was littered with costumes and masks. In one corner I saw Bubba, Kelly's dog, with his head lowered, tail between his legs. His whole body was shuddering. Kelly was sprawled on the floor. She looked dazed. She was panting hard. Holding my breath, my chest aching, I stumbled over to her. Kelly, are you okay? She shook her head no. Can you breathe? I asked. I guess, she choked out. All around us, kids screamed and cried and moaned. They stampeded out the door. The room was nearly empty. Chris staggered up to us. One of his pointy ears had fallen off. Whoa, that smelled like a dead horse, he cried. He picked up the brown package from beside Kelly on the floor. What is this? Some kind of powerful stink bomb? Put it down, I cried. Maybe I spawned inside it. He tossed it across the room. Who? Kelly moaned. Who would? Swallowing hard, she gazed at the broken front window.
Oh my god. You can't.
I patted her shoulder. Take a deep breath, I said. The smell is almost gone. Try to calm down. Who? She repeated. Meg, who would do that? Who would throw a disgusting stink bomb through my living room window? I shook my head. I didn't know what to say. Who hates me that much? She cried. Tears rolled down her red, swollen face. Who hates me that much to ruin my party and wreck my house? Who? I don't know, I said softly. I grabbed her by the arms and helped her to her feet. I don't know anyone who would do such a horrible thing. Kelly rocked back. I held her steady till she caught her balance. Man, that thing totally stunk, Chris exclaimed. He turned to Kelly. And you got the major blast. I can still smell it, Kelly said in a trembling voice. It's on my skin, on my clothes. I wiped tears off her cheeks with my fingers. Chris and I will help you clean up, I said. We will? Chris said. I gave him a playful karate chop in the stomach. Yes, we will.
Really? Why is
Behind us, Bubba groaned and lay down on the floor.
Okay.
I turned to Kelly. Where are your parents? Kelly shook her head. They thought the party was under control, so they went to a late movie. She let out a long sigh. Look at this room, the window. When they get home, they're going to kill me.
Wow.
We can clean up most of it, I said. I kicked the sharp triangle of glass out of my way. First, let's wipe up the puke. Where are the paper towels? We need rows and rows of paper towels. 3 of us started to work. We didn't say a word. The eerie music was still playing. Kelly shut her off with a sob. She kept shaking her head and muttering to herself. My stomach felt shaky. Cleaning up puke isn't my favorite job. I scrubbed really hard, but there were orange and yellow stains all over the carpet and furniture. Do you have air freshener? Do you have air freshener? I asked Kelly. That question made her stop to cry again. The black eye makeup ran down the sides of her face. We need a ton of air freshener, Chris said, holding his nose. Shut up, I said. That's not helpful. He crunched over a shard of glass. How about if I get the vacuum cleaner? He said. If we get rid of the broken glass, the room will almost be back to normal. Oh, Kelly murmured. Nothing will be normal again.
Oh, really?
I couldn't blame her for being so upset. She had been throwing the best Halloween party in history and someone deliberately ruined it. Who could it have been? Someone she forgot to invite? Just about every kid in our class was there. My brain spun. I couldn't think of anyone who hated Kelly or had a grudge against her. I couldn't think of anyone who would play such a mean and harmful joke. The three of us vacuumed and cleaned the carpet. We did the best we could. I told Kelly I'd call her in the morning. Then Chris and I started for home. As we walked, we both struggled to think of who may have ruined Kelly's party. But we couldn't come up with a single name. Chris stiffened hard 2 or 3 times. I can still smell that stink on my clothes, he murmured. Wonder if it'll ever come out. The cold wind soared around us. We were shivering by the time we got home. We went in through the back door. Penny was asleep, but she left all the lights on for us. We climbed the stairs. I stepped into my bedroom and let out a cry. The orange baby kid stood in front of my dresser. Did you get the message? He asked.
Oh, really?
Chapter 11. Chris heard my scream and came running into my room. We both stared at the kid in the weird costume.
Oh, really?
His baggy blue t-shirt came down over his diaper. He leaned on the dresser and tapped one red shoe on the floor. My feeling is lonely, he said in his tiny cartoon voice. I sent you a Roma message to come home.
Any stipulations or restrictions there, do you?
Huh? I cried. What did you send us? A Roma message, the kid repeated. I nearly choked. I took 2 or 3 steps toward him. You did that? I shouted angrily. You threw a stink bomb through Kelly's window? He nodded his round head. He had a big grin on his face, like he was proud of what he did. How could you? I screamed. Your aroma message ruined my friend's party and made a lot of kids sick.
Good.
The kid's grin stayed plastered on his face. You got a message, he said. Who are you? Chris demanded. How did you get in our house? Never mind, I said. Just get out of here. Really? I mean it. Get out. Really? I mean it. Get out. My feeling is lonely, the kid said. Why did he talk so strange in that weird hoarse voice? It had to be a joke, but the joke wasn't very funny.
She got a position. She was in the ICU.
It had to be a joke, but the joke wasn't very funny.
She just got a position at
My name, Bim.
Yes.
He said. The orange antenna on the top of his head wiggled as he talked. You know my planet, Weirdo planet? I rolled my eyes. Okay, sure, I said. You're Weirdo, very funny. You can go home now. I motioned to the door. You're a little too weird, Chris said. Go home, dude. No, Bim is home, the kid said. His raisin eyes glowed darkly. First time on your planet. Bim never visited before. I turned to Chris. So we call 911? He whispered. Call the police? Chris shrugged. Beats me. This kid is a nut job. Bim picked up a glass paperweight from my dresser top and began rolling it between his 3-fingered hands. He smiled again. You saved Bim's life. I squinted at him. Excuse me?
Always that one.
You mean because we pulled you from the hedge? Chris asked. Bim nodded. Yes. Bim's life saved by you. So my feeling is happy.
But yeah, other than that. Yep.
Big thrill, I said. Will you please go home now?
So,
Bim is home, he replied. You saved Bim's life. Bim belongs to you now.
hell no.
My mouth dropped open. What kind of dumb joke was this kid pulling? He licked the glass paperweight with a fat pink tongue, looked it all around, then set it back on my dresser.
Often ask myself,
It's really late, I said. Why don't you give us a break? His antenna stood up. Translate, please. Just go home, Chris said through clenched teeth. He balled his hands into tight fists. I could see my brother was about to lose it. This is my home now, the weirdo repeated. I belong to you now. You saved Bim's life. Are you crazy? I screamed. We didn't save your life. We just pulled you out of a hedge. Chris taunted me. Is this kid for real? Felt a shiver run down my back. I suddenly pictured Bubba, Kelly's dog. At first, Bubba came bursting out of the house to attack this kid. But the dog stopped suddenly and started to shake with fright.
Yes, we got some land up there with a farm.
If anything, hold on, real quick. If anything, this is me talking by the way. If anything, I say they saved his life from Bubba. Accidentally stopped Bubba.
And I told her, I said, this is your gig. I'll go up, visit, whatever, but I'm not going up there.
I mean, you don't know. Maybe Bim's
I've gone up there a couple
Bim's skin could be very sensitive, and that's probably why that his life was saved in the hedge. It could have cut him so easily. Or he's just being over dramatic because he never been to Earth before.
Yeah.
Or is this Earth? Because you never know. It might not be Earth.
We gave him a little job.
You never know. It might not be Earth. You never know. It might not be. Something very strange was happening here. Strange and frightening. I began to believe this wasn't a kid in a funny costume. But what was he? Is he dangerous? Is he dangerous? I wondered. My feeling is happy, the kid said. He did a little dance tapping shiny red shoes on the floor. I'm thinking of Dorking shoes. What are you guys imagining? Put it in the comments below. You're going to wake up Penny, I said. Please. Please. I'm begging you to leave. Where'll Bim sleep? He asked, gazing around. You sleep at your own house, Chris said. You know, dude, this joke isn't funny anymore. It's just stupid. Once again, Bim's snout-like antenna stood straight up. Translate, please, he said. I'll translate, Chris shouted. It means I'm kicking your butt out of here. He dove forward and grabbed the little kid around the neck. Then he slid his hands under the kid's armpits and hoisted him into the air. Oh no! Chris let out a startled cry as Bim flew from his hands and went sailing up to the ceiling. Crash! Smacked the ceiling hard. Chris, you've hurt him! You've hurt him! I cried. Chapter 12. Wee! Bim cried. Ceiling game fun! Do again! Do again! He came floating down slowly and caught him in my arms. He really is light as a feather. Hard. That's why he got away from me, he said. Let Bim down, the kid said in a funny voice. Bim, live here now. No, you don't, I said. I got him tightly and started for the door. You're leaving now, Bim, and whatever your real name is. It's so weird, Chris said, following me to the bedroom door. He weighs less than Aunt Lucy's chihuahua. Maybe he's telling the truth, Meg. Maybe.
But yeah, I talked to her.
I was nearly into the hall when Bim started to change. He shut his tiny eyes tight and clenched his whole face. He began to grit his teeth.
She was at one of the daycare.
Then disgusting grunting sounds came up from his throat.
Okay, yeah, so I talked. It's whoever I come. How's Josh doing?
That was the sounds.
Is he? Okay.
I gasped as he began to feel heavier. I struggled to hold him up. But he was gaining weight fast. Oh! I tried to grab on tighter, but he was too heavy. Pain shot down my back and arms.
Yep.
I had to drop him to the floor. He landed with a hollow,
really?
loud thud. He weighs 1,000 pounds, I stammered.
Oh, okay.
Bim crossed his arms in front of his slender chest and glared at us. His face was bright orange now. How did you do that? I screamed. My voice came out high and shrill. What's going on here? You're not really an alien from outer space. You can't be. I totally lost it.
Now, what
I reached down to his chin and grabbed the bottom of his mask. Let's see who you really are.
Okay.
That reminds me of Scooby-Doo. Scooby-Doo, where are you? You know you're 1 in a million.
Wow, that's a lot.
Scooby-Doo, go watch it. I decided like that last lyric so it wouldn't get copyright. Alright. Chapter 13. I took down the kid's mask. I tugged harder.
Gotcha.
I gasped. Then I jerked my hand back and nearly stumbled into my brother. It's not a mask!
Okay.
I choked out. That's his real face.
Yeah.
His eyes went wide.
Yeah.
For real? For real. I stared at the orange sky about 3 feet tall with his baby face and pokey antenna. His 3-fingered hands. Those raisin eyes.
Yeah, I'll have to,
All real, not a Halloween costume.
or something out there.
Why is that big eyes in the cover though? He has raisin eyes.
Yeah.
I wonder the cover is always different.
Oh, really?
Or else Stan forgot that the eyes were raisin? I mean, sometimes you forget some details and you add new details.
Wow.
Especially when it's 200 pages.
I will,
This book's 200 pages.
say hello.
What do you guys think? Leave it down in the comments.
Yeah, it was good talking to you. Alright.
All real, not a Halloween costume.
I don't find
A cold wave of panic ran down my back. Bim didn't move. He just stood there, glaring and kissing me with his arms crossed.
Alright.
To tell us the truth, I stammered. Who are you? Bim, he replied. Bim, bim, bim. Bim, bim, bim. My name Bim. I am Weirdo. Chris took a step back. His voice shook with fear. But how did you get here? He asked. Why did you land in our neighborhood? Why I land here? Ben replied. He rubbed his round orange chin. I try to remember. Then he stopped. He made a hoarse coughing noise. Then he stroked real loud. Excuse Bim, he said. He opened his mouth wide. Wider. He began to cough and sputter. He made raspy, choking noises from deep in his throat. Then with a splutch, something wet and disgusting slid out of his open mouth and plopped onto my bedspread. Oh, sick, Chris groaned. It's some kind of dead animal covered in yellow slime. Excuse Bim, he said, wiping the wet mucus off his lips with the back of one hand. He spit a fat glob of yellow mucus onto the floor. I blinked several times and gaped at the sticky mess on my bed. A dead bird, still whole, its feathers matted to its body by yellow slime. My stomach heaved. I pressed a hand over my mouth. I heard a sound at the door, spun around and saw Penny came shuffling into the room. She squinted through a thick glass at the dead bird on my bedspread. Her eyes bulged and she let out a cry. Meg, what's that? My house skipped a beat. Penny leaned over the bed and squinted at the yucky dead bird on the bedspread. Think fast, Meg, I told myself. Chris and I didn't want to upset our old babysitter. She was so frail and weak. But how could I explain a whole mucus-covered dead bird on my bed? It's a Halloween thing, I told Penny. A joke, you know. It's made out of rubble or something. Penny turned and lowered her gaze on Ben. That's our friend. Max, Chris told her. Isn't that an awesome baby costume? Everyone loved Max's costume at Kelly's party, I added. I hated to be such a liar, but it was for Penny's own good. Penny laughed. That's wonderful, she told Bim. Very clever. Did you make it yourself? Bim made it, he answered, nodding his head. Penny wrinkled her face. Bim? That's his brother's name, I said. His brother is an art student. He is always making interesting things. Penny nodded. Nice to meet you, Max, she turned to me. I got up to give my fish the late feeding. They always enjoy a midnight snack. We watched her leave the room. She walked with slow, shuffling steps. We listened to her pad down the stairs, and Chris and I turned back to Bim. Close call, I said with a sigh. Bim picked up the slimy dead bird off the bedspread in one three-fingered hand. He pushed it into my face. Taste? It smelled worse than a skunk. Ugh! No way, I cried, backing away. He held the dead bird by a leg and swung it under Chris's nose. Taste? Chris shook his head. His whole body shuddered. I don't think so. Bim shoved the bird back into his mouth. He swallowed it whole and made a slick sound as he slid it down his throat. Then he wiped sticky stuff off his cheeks and lips. Bim, he only living me, he exclaimed. Living meat tastes fresh. My stomach heaved again. I felt totally nauseous. Bim, heave up food 3 times before food. Stay down, the alien continued. What? This is my second time reading it. It is actually my second time reading it. I stared at him. He still had some yellow slime on his chin. You mean every time you eat you have to puke 3 times? I asked. He nodded. My feeling is happy. That was 3rd time. Tasting so good. I turned to Chris. I'm going to be sick. Really? Not sick. My feeling is happy, Bim said. You nice new owners. Bim stay with you forever. I swallowed hard, waiting for my stomach to settle. What did we say, please? Chris said to Bim. What did we say, pretty please? Then, would you leave? Yes, I said, please, please, Bim, we are begging you. Please leave our house. His antenna stood straight up. He raised one hand. Bim will be loyal slave. Bim will never leave you. But, we're begging you, I cried. Don't you understand? We want you to go away. His antenna drooped. He lowered his hand to his side. He nailed his tiny eyes and scrunched up his face until it wrinkled like an orange prune. Don't make my feeling unhappy, he growled. I gasped. Was that a threat? The little guy suddenly looked menacing. His eyes grew bold and blacker. His lips pulled back and I saw 3 rows of pointed teeth. Slowly, the teeth began to grind. And then as I stared, frozen in horror, and stray yellow flames slid down over his bottom lip. He began to pant like an animal sucking drool on his fangs. Chris and I both backed up. The white foam spread over Bim's open mouth. He snarled and his fangs slid lower down over his chin. He raised himself on tiptoe. He didn't look like a cute baby any longer. His face darkened to red. His chest swelled under the blue soot. He leaned toward us, eyes spinning wildly in his head. And then he opened his mouth in a bellow roar. Don't make my feeling unhappy! Chapter 14. My heart was doing flip-flops in my chest, staring at this monster. My whole body began to shake. Okay, I choked out. I backed up until I bumped into my dresser. Chris's mouth hung open in fright. He leaped aside as the angry alien lurched forward. The white foam bubbled from Bim's mouth. His fangs made a scraping sound as they rubbed his chin. His face darkened to purple. "Don't make my feeling unhappy!" he growled again. How dangerous was this alien? Would he really hurt Chris and me? Living meat. He said he ate only living. He said he ate only living meat. Did that include humans? Could he swallow us whole like that poor dead bird, then puke us up 2 or 3 times? I don't think he could swallow you. Actually, no. Yeah, he could. I know I had to calm him down. "Listen, Bim," I started. "Chris and I would love for you to stay, really." He stopped grunting and frothing. His face brightened back to tomato red. "But there's just nowhere for you to sleep," I continued. "See, I moved around my room. There's no place for you." "She's right," Chris chimed in. "There's just no room, Bim." Bim stared hard at Chris, then at me. He gnashed his teeth loudly, while foam drew onto my rug. "My feeling very unhappy," Bim rasped. "Never make Bim's feeling unhappy, because see what happens." He spun around, turning his back on us. He walked heavily up to my wall of shelves, and he grabbed a doll off the middle shelf. "No!" I screamed. "What are you going to do?" Bim raised it down in front of him. He held it up so I could see it clearly. "No, please!" I cried. "Put her down. She's my oldest doll. That's Elizabeth. She belonged to my great-great-grandmother. Put her down, Bim." "Oh, great-great-grand, yeah." Bim lowered the doll. "She's my most valuable doll. Put her down." "That's right," I said in a trembling voice. "Down. Down." Bim lowered the doll on the shelf. Then he picked up the one next to it, one of my favorites from the 1930s. "Bim, please." He ignored me. He lowered the doll to his drooling mouth. Then he shoved the doll's head into his mouth and bit it off. It made a sick crack. I screamed. He split the head out and hit the carpet and rolled halfway across the room. "Bim, please," I begged again. He ignored me. His eyes whirled crazily as he began to spin the headless doll between his teeth. He spun it faster, faster. Like the latte we have in the wood shop at school. What the darn heck is a latte? I'm searching up what a latte is and putting that as the thumbnail. I hope you all having a great day, by the way. Don't forget to hit that like button. Please. If you like me, if you like seeing me read, and if you hit the like button, I actually might make another episode of this very soon. And if it goes too far away from Halloween, it won't be in the Halloween playlist, but I will still do an episode of it if you guys want me to so bad. Only if you want me to so bad. If not, then you have to wait until after Halloween. So I'll probably need, not views. Views don't count if it's special. So, likes. Give some likes. Give me some likes. It doesn't have to be 100,000, it just needs to be likes, so pay up.